Welcome back to another episode of Have You Heard, the social media podcast brought to you by The Social Shepherds. And today we're going away from social and all things AI, especially Google and their recent announcements with their I/O, new updates to Bard, generative AI and everything like that. I brought on Joey with me to discuss this through.
I'm back.
Back again.
With no hair, nonetheless, but you know.
So a few changes. Still you, Joe.
Still me.
So yeah, obviously they came out with this, whole new event that they released, and obviously we've seen videos of it and the new changes and how it's going to adapt and is already adapting at the moment. I guess with you being in paid media and obviously having quite a bit of focus across search, one of the reasons why we wanted to bring you on, but how, from what you've seen so far, how is that going to affect you in your sort of day-to-day role in paid media, especially like the paid search side of things?
Well, to be fair, from the announcement, it looks like there's going to be so many applications that we can use it right the way from process-based stuff, just with day-to-day work that we're doing, but also with the ad management that we're doing across Google Ads and also across paid social as well, because there's definitely going to be uses for kind of the new updates to the generative AI that Google have released to basically make our jobs easier, essentially. Mm-hmm. I guess kicking off with the search side of things, it's really interesting, really, because one of the things, or I guess the main thing that they've announced kind of last week was the fact that you've got you put your search in, and essentially you get this block of text and product ads as well, which appears and basically gives you the lay of the land of pretty much, it scrapes all web pages of kind of everything that you've searched for, and gives you like a top line summary essentially of what you've searched for, which is really interesting. It means you don't have to go through clicking loads of links, which some companies I guess might find is a bad thing, because I think that was always one of the benefits of search, is with the fact that you could have the variation of different links to be able to click through to and go onto the websites, have a read, compare, but it's kind of summarizing everything for you in one place now.
I also saw that they're doing you can do comparisons within that, so you can like type in compare this restaurant to the other, or compare this brand to another brand, and give me a summary as to why I should purchase from one, that pros and cons and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's just the capabilities of it seem to be pretty mad, and I think it's taking it the step further as well. You're almost having a conversation with the AI, because you do your initial search, and you don't have to then go back to do initial search if you want to find out more information about what you've just what you've been looking for. There's almost like a look for more option, and you almost open a chat window with the AI, and you can discover further around the topics that you're trying to look for and discover.
I guess if you as an example, first initially asked for a red dress, as an example, it might give you more prompts to like further understand why you're looking for a red dress, to give you even better search results, whether it's for a summer wedding or whatever that may be. It's enabling that process. I think exploration.
I think the interesting bit is really how it's going to impact, I guess, the paid ads landscape in this space, because I think some of the things that we've seen is certainly we're seeing product ads appearing within that kind of that AI bot chat bit at the top, but it seems like search ads are getting pushed further down the page.
It's interesting that, because Google aren't going to ever want to reduce
visibility
how much they make.
Exactly. So
it's going
to be interesting how that's going to be integrated into the whole system. I guess that's to be discovered yet. It's still early days after the announcement, but things are certainly going to be changing from a search perspective and from a shopping perspective too. And I guess it brings us back to the point of again, one of the conversation topics that we kind of always bang on about in these podcasts, which is looking at your product feed and feed management, and making sure you've got all the relevant information in your product
100%.
titles, descriptions, making sure you've got all of the correct fields populated on your shopping feed, because it's going to become, I think, now more important with the AI introduction into the search landscape, to be able to get that increased visibility based off what people are searching for, how people are interacting with the AI as well, because it's going to need that extra bit of information to be able to show products, essentially.
Yeah, and I've also sort of spotted that they're going to incorporate shorts in these sort of AI generated responses as well, which is interesting, because currently, obviously, we get YouTube videos, but full-length videos within sort of search results, depending on what your search query is. But with the introduction of shorts and obviously short-form content, it looks like YouTube and Google are going to be changing that. So it might be an idea for brands to start thinking of, building that content strategy out for their shorts and answering, industry-related questions that someone might be searching for, and be that sort of thought leader and have responses there. And that might come into play with the ad side of things. Is that how Google's maybe going to generate, media spend by brands to include, promoted
certainly
shorts?
Certainly going to be interesting because, Google have been pushing shorts for a while now, as an ad format. They've introduced it, into the Performance Max side of things, and you can actually build them obviously into manual YouTube campaigns too. So I think as that grows, it's again only going to get more and more integrated into kind of this new, visual landscape that we've got when you kind of make any searches on the Google side of things. I think kind of the bit just leading on from that, that was also really interesting. For those that have got, Google Pixel, you're probably well aware of what Magic Eraser is. If you're taking a picture of something, and it's a selfie and you've got someone in the background you don't want to be there, you can get AI to remove it for you. But they've kind of taken it a step further now, and essentially you're now going to be able to edit your images completely. So if there was an area of image that was kind of cut out and necessarily didn't exist in the initial photo, but you actually wanted to, I don't know, maybe centralize something. I think the example that they used was, a child with holding a balloon. And essentially they extended the video, the image, and the AI automatically generated it. And then you can again use AI to make all of the kind of edits that you need to in terms of lighting, and saturation, hue, everything like that, to be able to kind of really make that image pop. And it looks as if that was in the original 100%. Image. It was crazy. So I think that application, particularly when we're looking at the likes of Performance Max activity, where we're uploading images and things might not necessarily be fitting into the original specs that you're uploading those into, and actually seeing the AI just automatically generating and just making them fit within those specs and resizing. It's going to be crazy, which is, again, we've mentioned it's still quite early kind of in the announcement. We don't know really how good that's going to be, but I mean they're always going to push forward with the example that they give is probably one of the best ones that they can do. So I think it's just one to keep an eye on, I think, certainly from that side of things, and that can lead into paid social as well. Certainly with the work that the guys in our creative team are doing, it's quite scary actually, to think that
all jobs
the AI is going to start creeping into that space as well. But I think, again, one of the things that we were talking about earlier was actually the comparison with ChatGPT at the moment, which is the one, is the AI tool that everyone's kind of talking about at the moment. And with ChatGPT, actually, you can only do kind of a text input for a text or image output, whereas Bard now essentially you can do an image input or a text input, and it will still generate what you need it to do, essentially. So I think one of the things, Discovery points out the back end of that is, could that then change the way that we're writing copy to run alongside these images for Google Display, for paid social, for organic social with captions that you're putting up on your posts? You can essentially put that up and it will write a full caption for you.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking then, like, one consideration is, will there become a point where we don't write any copy anymore, because it just, Google knows the product, the web page, and it just simply writes it for you based on what that person searched for, as well as using their AI technology. Obviously, that makes it hard from your perspective to optimize and be competitive, I guess, within that search, ad. If ultimately everything's being written by AI in the same tool, but be interesting if copy actually gets removed as a part of like that paid search and paid social sort of part of that service delivery.
I mean, there's elements of it in play at the moment. You know, Google, you can opt in on Google Ads at the moment for Google to automatically write copy for you.
So it's already...
and it will automatically update your PMAX and responsive search ads. And it's not the best at the moment, I would like to say, but I'm sure in a period of time, it's probably going to get to a point where it's going to get better.
Yeah.
And it's going to be more cohesive with what it's writing. So, yeah, certainly something to keep an eye on.
Yeah. And then one of the other things I know that we picked up on was almost like a fake news sort of element to it with images specifically, where you can, within an image within Google Images, you can look at you can click within like about this image effectively and understand if it's been generated by AI or where has this image been referenced on the web before, you know, is this a fake piece of content ultimately? Can, you know, verify that sort of verification process of like, what's the source? Where's it come from? To really give you the full picture of like, should I be trusting this piece of content?
I think it's always one of the questions. I think particularly when it comes to AI is what's real and what's not. You know, there's a lot of conspiracy. There's a lot of fake news out there on the internet. I mean, it's just full of it. But I think Google is certainly trying to make steps from their side of things, I guess from a security standpoint, to make sure that that's limited as much as possible, because realistically with AI, certainly from like an image perspective, I mean, you can generate anything.
Yeah.
And you could be posting that as a news article saying, look what's happened here, when it's not actually real.
Yeah.
So I think it's something to be obviously aware of. And certainly, you know, some of the bits of work that Google have put into place is including tags within the metadata of those AI generated images, just to make sure that when you click onto where has this image come from, that you can clearly see that it is an AI generated one and not something that's actually real, which is interesting. I think one of the bits that I mentioned at the start was just around how it could be influencing, I guess, our work processes as well, because one of the things that Google are integrating it into is the Google landscape in terms of, you know, looking at Sheets, Docs, into PowerPoint. What's Google's PowerPoint called? I've completely forgotten. Slides, that's the one. So there's going to be so many applications on that side of things to do, which, you know, there could be so many implications in the way that we're reporting in the future. Certainly, you know, we could be putting lots of data essentially into Google Sheets, into Google Docs, basically saying to Google, can you write some commentary to go alongside this, please? And it's going to be able to do that. So again, it could completely change the landscape in terms of process internally, in the way that we're reporting, even when we're putting, you know, decks together to present to clients. You know, there's going to be a potential time save involved with that kind of thing too. So I think we just need to get in and using it, I guess. That's the main thing. I think people are always worried that it is going to take your job. And I think there is going to be an element where, you know, unfortunately, because it is a time save, that, you know, it is going to take away a proportion of jobs. But I think people that steer away from it now are going to be the people behind when 100%. It actually comes to that point, because you need to be embracing it and inheriting it and kind of really getting used to using it and understanding how it works, because then you can become an expert in the field and you 100%. Can be kind of a thought leader in that process.
Do not get left behind.
Don't
basically.
get left behind.
Lots to come, no doubt, as well. And I'm sure I've already seen something this morning as well, something from Apple. New update come to iOS where they're
unsurprising
some stuff as well. So every platform, both like software, hardware, are going to be integrating this as a part of what they're offering. Otherwise, they will get left behind. So that's why there's so much coming out constantly. I think, you know, ourselves and on this podcast, we're always going to be making sure to keep you guys up to date with everything that's going on. So please do subscribe and follow along, because me and Joe will be sat in these chairs again, or maybe not, because we're moving to a new podcast studio soon. But make sure to subscribe along, and we'll be sharing more with you soon.
Thanks very much.